Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to the latest edition of the Straight Talk series with Vitality. My name is Jamie, and I am one of the Vitality coaches, and I'm also super lucky to be the host of today's session. So for this conversation, I'm joined by Ellie Simmonds, OBE, who is one of the most recognised athletes in the world. Ellie became an iconic figure, I think that's the right word for sure, in 2008, where she won 2 gold medals in the Beijing Paralympics, despite being the youngest member of the team at age 13. Ellie has so far amassed, I think it's 8 medals across 4 events at 3 Paralympic Games, including 5 golds, as well as no fewer than 17 medals at World Para Swimming Championships also. So we're super proud that Ellie is one of our Vitality ambassadors. I'm super lucky that she's joining me today. Ellie, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'm loving this weather. It's so nice all of a sudden. Well, last week was really nice, but I was racing in Glasgow, so I couldn't enjoy it. But now back home in London, I can enjoy this such nice weather that we've got. So yeah, I'm good.
Love it. Yeah, me too. I think it's always the start of summer when you sort of start to get the pools are probably emptying out. People are going to outdoor pools, but hopefully we're all enjoying it. So Ellie, we're here to kind of talk through your career, I guess. We'll look a little bit at the past, but also your aspirations for the future. And now if we go right to the very start, Ellie, if that's okay, because we've got a lot to cover today. Am I right in thinking that you started swimming at kind of like the age of 5? Now I know you've got, is it 3 sisters and a brother as well?
Yeah, I have. So there's a big family of us.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
So
big family. So was it their influence, or like, can you tell me a little bit about how you got interested in swimming?
I think it was a mix of both, a bit mix of my personality and also, yeah, watching my older siblings swimming at the sideline. From such a young age, I've always wanted to do sport, and always hated being bored as well, and always after school, like I'd go to school and then after school to be like, what activities have we got today? And my parents would be like, you've got dancing, ballet. And then I think swimming clicked with me because I was sitting watching my older sister learning to swim. And I think for me, it was the fact that I wanted to be in the water like her, learning, but also as my parents, they wanted me to be safe around the water because we used to go on family holidays to like the caravan. We used to do lots of fun things in the water. So I needed to be safe.
Okay, so I'm Ellie. I'm a strong believer that your sport chooses you. I would love to be a 6'4" NFL player, but fortunately, I'm not actually built for that. Obviously, would you say you were a natural in the water? Like you say, it started off for safety, but were you naturally like a really good swimmer from a young age?
No, I think it came with practice. I think I was good, yeah, but then it developed as I got better, as I practiced more and more, I think. But I'm definitely a water baby now. I love
Yeah.
being in the water, not just swimming in the pool, but also in the sea and all things like that. So I think it's a bit of all sorts. And also swimming is a very time consuming sport. Like now I'm in the water 9 times a week, but when I was younger, it was come home from school and I'd go to my swimming lessons, and it wasn't once a week. If I wanted to be swimming with a swimming club, it was twice a week, 3 times a week. And next thing I know, it was like after school I would be swimming all the time. And also social life as well. Like I made such amazing friends at my swimming club in Bolmere, in Bolmere in Sutton Coldfield. So I just loved hanging with them, and I used to go before swimming, and then I would be always the last person in the changing room to go home because I was messing around. So it was a bit of all sorts.
I think that answered my question pretty well there in terms of it's probably your hard work and the fact that it was your whole life that kind of got you to the position you were. Because it's very unfair to say you're a natural, but obviously that
Yeah.
natural ability to work hard, I guess, was there. But if we now move forward to, I think like Athens 2004. So you were obviously super young, but I think you've said that you were watching Nairi Lewis
Yeah.
compete. And obviously you watched her and you thought, I fancy a bit of that.
Yeah, I did.
I'm someone who's also like inspired and influenced by athletes. Um, what was it about her and watching those games that sort of inspired you to think, this is what I want to do?
So my swimming my swimming was getting more prominent. It was a sport that I was loving to do. I started swimming, competing for my swimming club on the weekends at our local gala. It was a sport that I was just, thinking now I could do something with it. I'm getting quite good. I was competing against able-bodied athletes on our local galas. And then I think I didn't really click that there was Paralympic, there was disability sport out there, and that we could actually, me being an athlete or a human with dwarfism, that there was actually races for people like me out there. So I was always in that cliche that I would have to compete against people who are tall, who are a lot taller than me. And I think the realization that sport is for everyone was clicked when I was 9, watching the Olympics, but then afterwards sitting on the sofa watching the Paralympics and seeing how absolutely incredible the Paralympics was, and watching Athens 2004, watching Nairi Lewis get her gold medal in the 100-meter backstroke. It clicked. It was like a switch when I was like, I want to go to a Paralympics. And I remember sitting on the sofa saying to my mom, like, how old do you have to be to go to a Paralympics? And she was just like, oh, any age, you just have to be really good. And I think as a kid, that switch, that dream ignited then, like, I want to go, I want to be a Paralympian, I want to get a gold medal. And I think there's a lot of children out there have dreams. They want to be a nurse, they want to be a doctor, they want to go to space. And I think that was clicked when my dream was to go to a Paralympics and get a gold medal. And like that dream was then achieved 4 years later, which is crazy. But I think for me, my personality is like, if something's set in my, like if I want to do something, I try every ounce of my effort to get there. And I think that was really good that I have that personality trait, because when that dream was set as a 9-year-old to go to a Paralympics, I was like, yes, I want to achieve this. And I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I'm going to do everything I can to achieve that dream. But to think, like now I'm 26 and I've gone to 3 games and hoping to go to my 4th, like, you never realize as a kid that actually you're going to be able to achieve it and top it even more. But that was when it all began. And I think for me as an athlete now, being in the current stages, like swimming, it's amazing to hear and see the stories of other kids who've got inspired by watching London, Beijing, Rio. And I was that kid that got inspired watching Athens. And it shows what sport and what Olympic and Paralympic sport can do. And you never know the people sitting on the sofa watching the Tokyo Olympics and Paralympics this summer, 4 years later, they might be the next Usain Bolt or Mo Farah or Johnny Peacock or any of those athletes.
Or Ellie Simmonds.
Yeah, a little swimmer like me.
But Ellie, I think you are unique, because I remember when I was 9, I was interested in dinner and playgrounds games, and that's about it. So I guess when you were 9 and you set yourself that challenge, did you actually expect to be at Beijing at 13? Like, was that realistic for you?
Oh no, that was a complete shock. That was
good.
4 years ago I was going to Beijing. That was a massive shock. I think since when me and my parents realised there was disability sport out there, we did some research. We went to some local disability competitions, and then we competed a year after at my junior competition, the junior nationals it was. Then I got scouted and picked for the start programme on the British Para Swimming. So it all happened quite fast, really. But once I got scouted and picked for the British start program, and the support was there, and it was really amazing. And they were like, you're gonna be I think they said to my parents, she could be good if she carries on like this. They knew from the start, my first 400 meters, that was going to be my event. And I think it just happened all quite fast. And I think as a 10-year-old being selected on the start program, I think they were like, oh, she could be on the journey towards London 2012, because it was 2005 when London got announced that it was going to host the Olympics and Paralympics in 2012. So British Women even thought that my focus, my goal was to hopefully go to London 2012. That was going to be my first Paralympics. But I think it just went all so fast that I started hitting really good times, and had an amazing trials in 2008. The Paralympic trials were in April in Sheffield. Like, I still remember going to my first trials for the Paralympics, and I remember it was an event. I swam the 400-meter free, qualified, and afterwards I remember sitting and eating, like, there's an Italian in Sheffield called Mama's and Leone's. I remember sitting, like, eating spaghetti bolognese, just being like high as a kite because I just hit a qualification time doing like a 40-second PB to go
Wow.
to the games. They got a big PB. Maybe it's a bit of an exaggeration, 40 seconds, but I remember doing a massive personal best and just being so delighted that I'd hit a qualification time for Beijing, and just being amazed. Yeah, and to think, that I was getting selected to go to Beijing.
So I mean, but not only did you go, like, you dominated the 100 and the 400 to win 2 golds. So I think it's probably fair to say that was unexpected. But as a 13-year-old, did you realize what you were doing? Like, did you realize the scale? And if you did, so do you think that worked to your advantage if you didn't? Because again, as a 13-year-old, I didn't know what was going on.
I think, to be honest, like, I think, I think it's hard to, like, comprehend. Like, now I look back at 13-year-olds and I think they're kids. They're so, like, as a 26-year-old, I look back and I'm like, wow, they're so young. But I think for me, at this age of 13, I was like 13 going on 30, if you get what I mean, because I was the youngest on the team. The next oldest was like they were 18, 19, 20-year-olds, and I was just wanting to be like those. And I think I was so young that I didn't really comprehend how big the Paralympics was. So I was taking it all in quite a stride. It was just like I was going to summer camp, like, to China for a month, and I was just to enjoy myself and just to race the time of my life and do what I did recently or what I still do now, which is just race my heart out. And I think as a 13-year-old, I think you don't feel the pressure. You don't take into account how big an actual event is, and you've got all these people watching. So yeah, I was nervous, but it was a different types of nerves. I had no pressure. I was just going out there to swim and into enjoy and race my heart out. So I think as a youngster, you don't feel the pressure on your shoulders, whereas compared to, like, what I did in London 2012, I felt like I had the weight of the nation on my shoulders. And now, as a going into Rio, 21-year-old, and Tokyo, now as a 26-year-old, you realize how big of the competition is, and how big the Paralympics is, and what's it all about. So you feel it a lot more in compared to when you're a kid. You're just excited. Like, I remember walking into the water cube thinking, wow, this is an amazing pool. Like, it changes color at night. Like, it's just incredible. Like, I'm loving it all. I'm loving all the free kit I'm getting and all that. And yeah, like the Paralympic village and the food hall, and like, that's the thing. Like, when you go to a Paralympic village, you realize when you come back, like, everything's free. Like, you don't need to pay anything. So when you come home, you're like, oh wow, I've got to take some money out for laundry, or I've got to pay for a drink and stuff. Where at the games, you're like, oh, this is so fun.
I would be that guy filling my pockets and bags and stuff
Yeah,
like
you
that.
do.
But it's interesting hearing you speak, Ellie, because I actually watched something with Wayne Rooney yesterday, and it really reminds me of how you speak, because he said as a 16-year-old, he was or 17-year-old, I guess, he went into the dressing room and he had an argument with the manager, and he was like, why have I been dropped? And as a 17-year-old, all the players around him were like, who is this kid and how has he got that bravery? And he explained it as just like, I just love playing football and I think I'm the best at it, and therefore that's all I want to do. It doesn't matter if it's on the street or in a Premier League game. Like, that's what I love. And I guess with you in mind and looking at your career, you always perform. Like, you should never be written off. And I'd say Mo Farah is similar. Like, and Usain Bolt, like the best athletes in the world are always written off and questioned, yet they always show up and deliver. And I know we were speaking before that you studied psychology at Loughborough College and things like that. So do you think there's something within you psychologically that means that you rise to the occasion, and is there a difference in you and others?
Exactly. I think you've summed it up right. I think for me, like, when I know, like, even in training or certain aspects not even in the pool. When I know someone's watching me, I'm like, I've got to show them how good I am. Like, I've got to show them everything. And I think there's certain individuals, on a lot of athletes, that's their trait in their personality, because it's a high pressured environment. Like, you've got to deliver at a certain time of the day, certain like race, that you've got to go out and perform in front of how many people are watching you, not just in the crowd but also on TV. It's a high pressurized environment, and elite athletes, we've got to thrive off that. And I'm very lucky I do. Like, I love it. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I get so nervous and feel like I'm gonna be sick afterwards and can't stop going to the toilet and stuff like that. But once I'm behind the blocks and about to deliver the race, I love it. Like, it's a whole adrenaline rush. And like you were saying, Jamie, speaking to Wayne Rooney, like a couple of weeks ago, I was able to have a chat to Michael Johnson, who is an incredible like athlete, amazing like runner, and you see him presenting on broadcasts on the BBC and things like that. And like, as an athlete, like, that's what you miss, like, when you retire. It's that the whole anticipation of like getting your adrenaline going, the feeling of like you're about to be on fire, and then you unleash it. Like, it's not a nice feeling, but afterwards you miss it and you love that, and you like live, that's the moments that you live for. And I think as athletes, like, you got to get used to that, because that's what sport is all about. But it's definitely, sometimes you can deliver, but sometimes you can't. And it's about knowing what makes you be able to cope and deliver with the amount of pressure that's on your shoulders.
I love hearing you talk about it, because I think some people shy away from that as well. And I've heard you talk about the changing rooms before a race, and in swimming it's unique because everyone's kind of penned together. And I think I've heard you say that it's like being stuck in a room with your worst enemies. It's not because you don't like those people, but because you're racing against them. So do you think it's different to being super competitive? So if you were racing on your own, do you think you'd still have that fire, or is it like a fact of that I'm going to embrace the pressure and I'm going to show everyone else how good I am? Or is it like I'm going to show myself how good I am?
I think it's a mix of both, but also like, I think like, I'm very competitive, and I think when you're racing 7 other people, you want to beat them. And I think, like, in a lucky sense, that I chose a sport that's quite individual. Like, yeah, I've got a team around me who support me all the way, like my coach, my parents, my loved ones, all those type of people that support me. But like, it's just me at the end of the day going out there and racing and giving everything I've got. Like, I don't think I could like I love being in control of myself. I don't think I would find it really hard if I was competing in like hockey or netball or some other sport like that, where it's a team environment, because like, in a sense, I'm quite selfish, and I love just to be me and like be able to race who I want to race. And I think, like, I'm a racer, and I know that, like, in training you can push yourself, but actually when it comes to the end of the day, it's about you racing your other competitors. And I love it. Like, yeah, like I said, like you said, Jamie, the cool room it's scary. Like, it's you and 7 other competitors about to race the race of your life, but also it's quite an exciting feeling because you're about to go and race them, and you've done all that training and hard work for that one moment, and you've got to show the world what you're made of.
I could literally talk to you all day, Ellie, because I think there's some things that you said as well. Like, I often think that athletes get things like money and fame get thrown around too much. Like, if you look at the best athletes ever, like current, I guess, like LeBron James, Lewis Hamilton, Roger Federer, Tom Brady, all of those guys, they have all of the wealth and the fame that they ever wanted, and they're still going strong. And I guess that's the innate part that you were saying, and the reason why they love coming back. Ellie, we got so much to cover, so I got to keep going. But if we move now into London, and you've got to forgive me for forgetting like all of the world championships and everything in between that you've achieved. But so we're going to head to London, and I think this is when your fame probably went to a different level, and you were still so young, like 17, 18. But you were probably the face of the Paralympic Games, probably the most recognised athlete, and also the one that we had the most anticipation or expectation on to win. Again, you did smash it. I think you got 2 golds, a silver, and a bronze.
Yeah, it was so you have the whole collection.
The whole kit now. Set world records along the way. So with London, you had all that pressure, you had all that expectation, and you delivered again. Did you exceed your own expectations, or was that what you thought you could achieve? Because that's
uh,
ridiculous.
own expectations. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, because as an athlete, you want to be on top of the podium, but also it's about the times as well that you hit. And for me, I hit my personal best time, so the fastest that I've ever been in all my races, in all heats and finals, and that's a rarity for me. Like, I never normally PB, personal best, or swim the best I can in heats, which is, so heats are where you go in the morning, you race, and it's about the progression into the finals, and the finals is where the medals are chosen. But for me, I normally swim the heats, like, just to feel where everyone else is and feel my own race. But to swim heats and do personal best and then top it off in the final and again smash personal best but also world records and get be on top of the podium and get medals. I think for me, London 2012, like, it's a competition I'll never forget, and it was the most, not just because it was a home Paralympics, but I outshone my swims in all 4 events that I did, and to come away with 2 golds, the silver and the bronze, and especially the bronze in the 53, which is one length of the pool. I'm more of a distance swimmer, so 400 meters freestyle or 200 IM, and I sneaked a little bronze medal, which I I look back at the race and I was like probably 5th, and then all of a sudden I'm 3rd. So I touched it out really well, on my competitors. So I think for me, London 2012 was, it's probably the best games that I've ever had, or best competition so far in my career, just because of the swims that I swam. It was just amazing. But also, again, having a Paralympics is incredible, but having a home Paralympics tops it off. And like we said, Jamie, the pressure is immense, but I was able to cope under it, and I was able to have all my friends and family and people that had never seen me swim before were able to be in the crowd. Yeah, I couldn't tell where they were in the crowd, but I knew that they were there. Like my school friends who in Swansea and Oxford School, who hadn't really come to even see me train, they were able to be part of that and be able to watch me at the London 2012 Paralympics and be part of it. It was just amazing. And it's still when I'm on the tube sometimes now, or when I'm swimming at competitions or walking in the streets of London, people still congratulations on London, guys, did you know it was next year it's going to be 10 years ago. It's mental. It was definitely a summer Olympics and Paralympics that's British people are never ever going to forget, and to be part of that I'm very proud, and I'm going to take it years and years to come, and I'm never going to forget it.
You're a big deal, Ellie. You need to get used to that, I think. There's part of that Olympic Games that I just wanted to ask you about, because I remember watching you do an interview after, I think it was the 400-meter freestyle, and you were literally I'm so exhausted and so emotional. I think everyone saw it. And at that point, I think we got an insight into how much it means to athletes, and how much work you put in. Can you just explain, I guess, if people haven't seen that, what sport and the Paralympics does mean to you? Because you literally were I was why are they interviewing you right now? It's so unfair. You're just so tired and put so much into it. What does it mean to you? Because I don't think people get that sense.
Oh, it means everything. It's I live and breathe my sport. It's not just about when you go training, it's about as soon as you come home, you have to think about what you're doing in the day to help deliver in training. So getting a good night's sleep, resting as much as you can, try not to walk as much, especially Paralympic year, and nutrition, eat the right foods. I don't drink alcohol, just because I'm a normal 26-year-old, but I'm a full-time athlete. It's you live and breathe your sport. It's everything to you, and I love it. I'm so thankful for the opportunities that it gives me, the people that I get to meet. I get to travel the world. Haven't done this year, but that's understandable, with all the things that's going on. But I've there's so many amazing things that I get to do out of my sport. It's something that I love. I love swimming. I love being able to push your body to the limit. So, but it's not all rain and it's not all good. You tired, exhausted, especially swimming, or in all sports. I can't talk for everyone, but like I set my alarm for like 4:45 in the morning. Like it's hard, like getting up at early hours in the morning. It's exhausting, pushing your body. You're tired. Like at the moment we're in tough training because we've got 8 weeks now till the games. Like 8 weeks till we go. Or 77 days. So I don't know how many weeks that is. It's
You're
it's
still
close.
counting.
Yeah, still counting. And like you're exhausted. So the emotions that you feel when you touch and it goes so well, like for me, especially in London, it's relief because of all that hard work. It's not just in that moment. You put 4 years of hard work into that moment. So it is exhausting, it's tiring. And yeah, London 2012, I had a lot of pressure on my shoulders. Like even before I went and to the actual games, people were like, oh, so you're gonna get this gold medal. And I was like, I've not even raced yet. So how do I know I've got this gold medal? Like, and I think so for me, when I touched in London, it was that whole emotion came out of all the hard work, tiredness, exhaustion, emotion, and also relief too, because I'd finally achieved it and I could relax. Well, not relax because I had other races to do, but it was like I did it. I've got it. I've got a gold medal.
Yeah, I think that's a point that I'll come to next, is maybe about the expectation on you. But before we do that, we were saying again before, we're talking about, if anyone hasn't seen, Gareth Southgate wrote like an open letter to the nation ahead of the Euros today, and honestly I thought it was so good. It was kind of about like how the Euros are more than just winning football matches. It was about how the players care and they're more proud than you'll ever realize, and how he sees the success of the tournament actually is based on the combination of things that includes the success of how the nation comes together. And I love it, like I was saying, Ellie, that when athletes are bigger than their sport and they can transform the world, I guess, through their platform. And you've been a huge part of a time period where the Paralympic Games has become a globally celebrated event in its own right. So I guess, how important is that to you, and what would you love to see for the future of the Paralympics as well?
Yeah, I'm so proud of the Paralympic movement and also so proud to be part of it. It's on that journey. It's known now, in not just in Britain but in the world. And I think even before Beijing, people were like, I remember like, oh, I'm training towards the Paralympics. I hope to go to Beijing. People like, oh, Special Olympics. Like people didn't know what the Paralympics was all about. Whereas now, like it's people know what Paralympics is, and they know who Paralympians are, like the likes of Johnny, Lawrence Stedman. They've been on like Holly Arnold, have been on like Strictly Come Dancing, or I'm a Celebrity, things like that. It's like Paralympic athletes are seen for being Paralympians, and they are athletes. They're just a bit different. And I think it's been great to be part of that journey. And I think that's helped as well because of having London 2012 and Britain showcase what the Paralympics are all about. Also having the support of Channel 4, the likes of The Last Leg, Sainsbury's sponsoring the Vitality, supporting us Paralympic athletes and me as an individual too. And it's been amazing to see that Paralympic sport is getting on there on TV. And I think that's when it clicks to the public. It's this whole stories behind these para athletes. And I think for me, I'd love like for the Paralympic movement to go right in the right direction, but also not just in Britain, like we're embracing the Paralympic sport, but also the whole world too. And like the NBC and America have just announced that NBC are going to showcase it, but America, one of the big leading nations in sport, they need to be showing it all the time, like Britain do and Channel 4 do, and also the likes of Australia, China, big nations need to be showcasing Paralympic sport on their primetime TV. But also us Paralympic athletes, we don't train just for the Paralympics every 4 years. We have World Championships, we have Europeans. It's not in every 4 years. We have something each year. So I think for me, on that next step and that next progression of the Paralympic movement, it gets showcased every year, like primetime TV, like every year. That would be my dream, definitely.
Yeah, like it deserves. And I think you said there that sport is about stories, isn't it? And it's about people. And often Paralympic athletes have the most interesting stories. And Ellie, I guess, touching back on that point that we were just saying, again, apologies, we have to skip ahead to another 4 years. But like in Rio, you are now a recognized superstar. And I always get the impression that everyone just says, oh, Ellie's the favourite, probably for good reason as well, because you always do smash it. But do you almost wish that people would look at each games as like a fresh start and give you, I guess, more credit from a start point, rather than saying that you're this good and you've done this, so therefore you're going to win? Like, you have to put in the work. Like, is that difficult for you?
And I think it is, like, and especially now I'm a lot older from what I used to be, like, as a 13, 17-year-old and 21. Like, we're 4 years more mature, you know, and especially swimming, it's quite a younger sport. Women uh, or girls mature in the sport in about 16, 17, and yeah, they still can deliver PBs and personal bests even like at my age now. But it's definitely more of a young sport, and I think having that pressure on your shoulders, even like I'm going into this Paralympics, like I haven't got any world records to my name like I did previously. I got 2 bronzes at the last World Championships. Like, for me to still, and it's gonna, like, I'm not to make the podium, but it's going to be super tough because Paralympic sport is moving forward. Like, it's getting more and more competitive, and it is hard. And I think there's always that pressure on your shoulders to deliver because you've done it 4 years previously or even before that. But so it'll be quite, like you said, Jamie, nice to go into the sport or go into the Paralympics as fresh. But there's always, you know, what the media have, like, there's a whole story behind it and put you to deliver what you did 4 years ago. But there's definitely, like, age on not on my side at the moment.
I definitely back you though, Ellie. You deal with the context of these things so well, I think, and the
I
pressure,
think,
and it's fair to say, obviously, that Tokyo is going to be pretty unique. Obviously, it's been just such a ridiculously difficult time, and I think we're all looking forward to probably getting behind the games and being involved in something as big as the Olympics and the Paralympics. So hopefully, fingers crossed, you'll be competing in Tokyo. How do your feelings compare at this point compared to other games? Like, would you say the extra years helped your preparations? Has it exacerbated more pressure? Like, where's your head at the moment?
at the moment, it's like just so thankful that it's going to happen. You know, like, it's been a crazy year for everyone. You know, it's not just where sports taking a back seat, but the whole world. It's this COVID situation has affected everyone, and that's understandable. It's not a nice thing whatsoever. So I think as an athlete, as sport, we've taken a back seat and just think, like, it's about making sure everyone is healthy as possible. But for me, like, going into the games, I'm just so excited to compete, to go to a Paralympics, like, and I'm just, yeah, just cannot wait to have the Olympics and then the Paralympics after. So for me, I'm just so excited, and yeah, absolutely amazing that we're going to be able to go to Japan and just race our heart out, and also go to a Paralympics and represent our country. So I'm really happy. But yeah, it's been quite nice having an extra year, not going to lie, like, just to get that fitness even more better, and just, yeah, race and be part of the team. It'll be really exciting.
I love your enthusiasm, Ellie. It doesn't sound like it's changed from when you were 13 or 26. Like, you're still super young. And Ellie, honestly, it's been so good to talk to you today. Thank you so much for your time. And it goes without saying, but obviously we're all completely behind you with whatever you do. We'll be watching, supporting. Hopefully I can catch up with you after as well. But whatever it is, I have no doubt you'll be a complete success.
Oh, thank you so much, Jim, and everyone listening in, and to all you guys at Vitality for supporting me throughout the journey. So thank you.
Amazing. Well, we're delighted to be with you. And for everyone watching, I hope you've enjoyed today's session as much as I definitely have. Please do join us again very soon. And in the meantime, take care. And like Ellie says, enjoy the sun.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ellie. I'll let you get to it. Speak to you soon.
Thank you, guys. Thank
Thanks.
you.